Christmas and video games. Two things that seem to go together really well, or at least when it comes to gift giving and big holiday title releases. But the one thing you don't see that often is Christmas themes in video games. Actually, you see it more frequently than you think, you just don't remember it. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that maybe some of your favorite video games do have Christmas themes to them. It just may not be what you remember them for. Well, buckle up, because in this video, we're gonna take a look at 5 video games that are secretly Christmas themed. And just as a disclaimer, this list is in no particular order, although I will say my favorite game just happens to be number 1 on this list. All right, coming in at number 5, you may remember if you played this game a lot, but we are looking at Tom Clancy's The Division. Now, while The Division does not take place on Christmas Day per se, pretty much the entire city is frozen in Christmas because the outbreak that happens in that game happened on Black Friday. I believe it was spread over like money or dollar bills. Correct me if I'm wrong there. So the entire game is spent wandering around this city that is decorated with Christmas decorations. Big giant Christmas trees everywhere, Christmas lights and the storefronts. You know, now that I talk about it, I think I kind of like Tom Clancy's Division. That was a fun game. Now, coming in at number 4 on this list is a game that I'm sure some of you remember. In fact, some of you probably hold it very near and dear to your heart. And that game is Parasite Eve for the original PlayStation. Now, if you didn't know this, Parasite Eve is actually based on a book. And it had a really interesting and engaging plot. It was like, what if mitochondria were some sort of sentient being that were planning on like taking over the world? Hence the name Parasite Eve. Now, the narrative for that game actually begins on Christmas Eve. Parasite Eve. Now, just in case you haven't played Parasite Eve, I'm not going to tell you any more of the story other than the fact that it is a Christmas game, trust me. And if you haven't played Parasite Eve, what are you still doing here? You should be playing Parasite Eve right after this video finishes, of course. And coming in at number 3 is one of my favorite, most underappreciated, and by underappreciated I mean by its creators, video game of all time, and that would be Bully by Rockstar. Now hang on, I know what you're gonna say, but Bully's not a Christmas game. Well, if you played Bully and you remember, it takes place over the entire school year. And if you remember, chapter 3 takes place in December, and the entire school is covered in snow, Christmas trees, Christmas decorations. That whole chapter is Christmas. So I would consider at least a good portion of that game a Christmas-themed game. And I also just want a reason to talk about Bully, because maybe the more we talk about it, the closer we might get to getting a proper sequel to that game. Rockstar. Huh? All right, now coming in at number 2, and remember I said that these games were in no specific order, except for number 1, is what I would consider the black sheep of this entire video game series, and that would be Batman Arkham Origins. I know what you're gonna say, oh, Arkham Origins is the worst one, but hear me out here. If you remove yourself from all the other Arkham games and you really just play Arkham Origins, I really, really liked the story of that game, and it takes place in Arkham City during Christmas. Maybe that's why I like it so much, I don't know. I also really enjoy the voice casts. I think that my buddy Troy Baker was in an uphill battle by taking over the voice of Joker from Mark Hamill in this game, but he did a fantastic job. Not to mention, the game still plays just as good as the rest of the games in the series. Unfortunately, when you're comparing it to the other games in this series, you know, obviously it's going to be one of the weaker games because those other games were so incredibly strong. But it is the only Batman Arkham game to take place during Christmas. And that's why it's number 2 on this list. Also, if you haven't played Arkham Origins, I suggest checking it out. It's a pretty short game, and it's a lot of fun. You could berate me in the comments if you want. Okay, so here it is, the moment I've been waiting for. Honestly, the reason why I created this list, so I can talk about these wonderful games, especially this one. Coming in at number 1 on my list of video games that you didn't know were Christmas themed is Dead Rising 4. Yeah, Dead Rising 4. In my opinion, sounds crazy, the best, most polished Dead Rising in the franchise, with the exception of the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster that recently came out. I think that was really good. But Dead Rising 4 is fantastic. I play through that game every December. And again, maybe it's because it's Christmas themed, and that's why I hold it so dear. But everything about that game, Frank West comes back. Well, okay, if you haven't played that game, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it's really, really good. I really enjoy Dead Rising 4. Everything from the story, to the gameplay, to all of the crazy weaponry that you can build and just beat the shit out of zombies with. It's fantastic. So, yeah, again, go ahead and get me in the comments, but I think that game is fantastic. So there you have it. There's 5 games that are secretly taking place during or around the holiday season. I know there's more, and don't worry, over the course of this holiday season, I will have a part 2 to this list, because there's nothing that I love more than holiday-themed stuff. I thoroughly enjoy everything about the holiday season. I love the feel, I love the vibe, I love the gift giving, which, by the way, if you haven't seen the PlayStation 3 mod, you should check it out right here because it makes a great gift. And if you enjoy holiday-themed stuff as well, you should subscribe to the channel here because I will be making a lot more videos this holiday season on holiday video games, holiday movies, and holiday music. And until next time, Alexa, turn off the arcade. Enjoy the journey.